Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Welcome back, everybody. Hello, fellow Yankees fans. Today is April 3rd. Tough night for the Yankees last night, and there will be many of these throughout the season. Every year, after a couple of bad games early, we get a deluge of comments saying, oh, this team sucks, this team can't hit, this team can't pitch, this team can't play D, yada, 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 sell everybody, fire Cashman, blow up the stadium, whatever you want to do. Look, guys, I wanted to take a minute this year. I don't think we've done this in the past. To explain how to watch a baseball season without losing your mind, right? Because it is not a sprint. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's not like a football season where one loss early in the season can screw up your playoff chances. They're going to have many, many opportunities throughout this year to have good long stretches of baseball. And we've seen a lot of positives. But before we get into, all the predictions and the voicemails and all that stuff, I wanted to kind of tell you guys the best way to watch a baseball season. Don't get too high after a big win. And don't get too low after a bad loss. There's going to be plenty of both throughout the season. Every game is a single thread in a 162-game tapestry. Each game affects the other games, but it's still a single game, and your momentum is as strong as your next day's starting pitcher. Now, you'll find out later, I'm not high on tonight's game. I think the Yankees are going to lose tonight because I don't like the pitching matchup. But you don't judge a novel by one paragraph in the first chapter. You don't abandon a TV series because of one slow episode. I tried to get my wife hooked on Breaking Bad. I was in season 3 or 4 when I introduced her to it, and she turned it off after 2 episodes and never went back to it. And that's her loss. I think she missed out on what I feel is like the Moby Dick of television. One of the greatest TV series ever made. You watch it unfold. Long arcs, turning points. Moments that just don't make sense until later. Injuries happen. Slumps happen. Good teams can be mediocre for weeks. Bad teams can look great for weeks. Elite offenses can get shut down by great pitching. Dominant pitchers hang meatballs to scrubs, and said scrubs deposit those pitches into the upper deck. Baseball has a way of humbling everybody, even fans. So when we lose in April or May, whatever, just breathe. Take a deep breath, get a good night's sleep, say, you know what? Come get them tomorrow. Last night, Zach Gallen had one of the best curveballs that I have seen in years of watching baseball. I'm talking peak Mike Mussina, peak Barry Zito, even though he was from the left side, peak Darryl Kyle. That pitch was not fair. That pitch should be a felony. It would have shut down probably every team in baseball last night, including the Dodgers, who are now 8-0, and look like they're on the path to beating the Yankees' 125-win record when you include the postseason. Definitely going to contend for that 116 mark by the Mariners during the regular season. The conditions last night were brutal. They were not good for hitters. And you could tell because Rodon was pitching like one of those days where he gives up 10 runs, and he only gave up 4. He didn't have his stuff. He didn't have his confidence. Didn't have his swag. It happens. The Yankees lost. That's it. It doesn't mean they're going to lose 100 games. It doesn't mean that the season's over. It doesn't mean anything more than last night was not their night. Watching a baseball season is kind of like gardening. I've been gardening a lot in recent years. You don't scream at the dirt on April 3rd because the tomatoes haven't grown in yet. You water it. You trust the sun. You fertilize it. You let it breathe. Baseball does not reward panic, either on the field or from the fans. It rewards patience. It rewards perspective. And that's what I'm asking you all to have as you watch this season with me. Let's not get too high with the highs. Let's not get too low with the lows. Let's talk about Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe hit a 3-run home run in the 9th inning last night. He now has 4 hits on the season, and they're all home runs. That is not a stat line. That is a glitch in the matrix. He might be one of the more perplexing hitters that I've seen come up through the Yankee system in recent years. You never really know who he's going to be. One year, he hit 209. Next year, he hits 240. So a big improvement, but he goes from 2020, he had 21 home runs, down to, I believe he had 12 last year. It's just odd. And then this year, the power is back, but he's not hitting for contact. Every swing looks like he's trying to tear a hole in the back wall of Yankee Stadium. Inside fastball, uppercut. Outside slider, uppercut. Hanging curve, you guessed it, uppercut. It doesn't matter where the pitch is, he's swinging out of his shoes. And it sounds like I'm ripping the guy after a 3-run home run, but it's because I don't believe that that's the player that he should be, and I think the league is going to figure it out. He is becoming the exact opposite of what most of us thought he should be, a leadoff spark plug. Now, maybe the Yankees love the power. The Yankees see value in a high OPS with good defense. I hear you. But you look at his player archetype, as TK was saying last night, he feels like more of a Dustin Pedroia type or a David Eckstein type. Now, you don't see a lot of those type of players in Major League Baseball anymore because we've become so home run focused. But he is swinging like a middle of the order power bat right now. Hitting 200, 4 hits, and they're all home runs. I think the approach is all wrong. I could be wrong on this. I could be wrong. Maybe he hits 35 home runs and has a 900 OPS and plays great defense and his WAR is 6.3. Who knows? I think the league is going to figure out his approach right now. And you're going to see more teams burying breaking balls on him and trying to strike him out. And I think you're going to see the average regress, and I think the home runs will stop. It's exciting that he's hitting all these home runs, but I don't think it's sustainable with that approach. So, once the league adjusts and stop feeding the launch angle machine, I'm not sure there's a plan B for him. And I'm worried about it. So, as we talk about the ebbs and flows of the season, this is one of those storylines that we're going to have to watch. How will Anthony Volpe adjust? What is this new version of Anthony Volpe? Is he a guy who's going to hit 35 home runs? Well, he's not going to steal 30 bases if all he's doing is hitting home runs because he's not hitting singles. And if the league adjusts and he doesn't have a proper fallback, he is going to be properly and thoroughly cooked. And that worries me. All right, let's talk about our Inside Edge preview of the day. Merrill Kelly, who is pitching tonight, he is a change-up specialist. And opponents since 2023 are slugging just 192 against his changeup. That's the best in all of baseball. You're going to see a nasty changeup tonight with sink. He throws it a lot. Hitters have a batting average of just 154 on his changeup. Second best among pitchers with at least 70 plate appearances ending on that pitch. If he gets you to 2 strikes, you're hosed. And opponents chase 45.1% of the changeups out of the zone. Top 5 in Major League Baseball. So he will get you to chase. So it does not get any easier tonight with Merrill Kelly on the mound. And we're going to need a strong performance from Carlos Carrasco, who is making his first start with the Yankees. He pitched out of the bullpen earlier in the season, and he had a pretty good spring, but that does not change my NostraDerek prediction. I think the Diamondbacks are going to win tonight, unfortunately. I think that the stuff that Carlos Carrasco used to get through the spring is not going to play during the regular season. He just doesn't seem like a strong pitcher at this point. The stuff doesn't impress me. I think he's over the hill. Now, he could surprise me and dominate tonight. I'm predicting that the Yankees will have another tough loss, and I think it's going to be lopsided. I'm saying 7-8-1 is my prediction. So, unfortunately, I have to drop a tough prediction on you today. Jared Williams says Diamondbacks aren't that good. Nah, just kidding. They're very good. Diamondbacks are a top 5 team in baseball, I think. They're really good. And the National League is a lot tougher than the American League this year. National League West is disgusting. The Dodgers are 8-0. The Padres are 7-0. Those are the best 2 teams in baseball. The Yankees' best hope is to win the AL and pick up somebody at the trade deadline to give you a chance in the World Series. Pick up a big arm or a big bat. Right now, it's going to be lopsided. But like I said, anything can happen in baseball. All right, so we're 11 minutes in. We've got 5 voicemails to get to, but I do have to do my morning sponsor. Quick word from True Classic, and then I'll be back with your voicemails. 60 seconds. I got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, True Classic. If you're looking for clothes that don't break the bank and actually fit, True Classic is the move. I am wearing a True Classic shirt right now. Since they sent me a package of them, I've been wearing them pretty much nonstop because they are so comfortable. They're light. They fit well. As you can see, they form to the body well. I've lost a bunch of weight lately, and I just needed some transitional clothing, and they came along at the perfect time. They have long sleeves. They have short sleeves. It's great for taking a walk, for when you go to the gym, or when you're just hanging around the backyard with your dog. So whether you are layering up and getting ready for winter, or trying to relax and enjoy the cool breeze in the springtime or the summertime, True Classic is the way to go. Visit trueclassic.com/stripe. trueclassic.com/stripe and elevate your wardrobe today.
What do you hear? What do you say?
We got a super chat here from Zippy Narwhal, who says, I also worry that Volpe might be cooked when they aren't home with the power swing. 100%. Because that homer last night was the definition of a porch job. It's the second time he's done that. He's getting lucky, I think, with some of these home runs. I worry. To me, so far, Volpe's performance is very deceptive. And I worry about what he's going to give us this year if he maintains that approach. I know the home runs are exciting. Last night wouldn't have been a home run. It would have been a fly out in Arizona.
All right. Hey, Derek, what's up? This is MD. I'm a subscriber. I'm a member. Let's see. What do you think about who would be one candidate that you choose to have sign an extension to
Good
basically
question.
extend? Because you see Ketel Marte, you see the Red Sox extended that young second baseman that they brought up in spring. So who's one player that you would extend early? I think it's something that we haven't done since we extended Aaron Hicks, which obviously didn't work out, but I think it's something that we underutilized a little bit. We could have got Judge a little earlier and maybe cheaper if we extended them earlier. Who's one candidate that you extend early, like we saw teams doing yesterday, multiple teams doing yesterday? Thank you. Love the show, man.
Appreciate the call. Okay, so we saw a lot of extensions yesterday. We've seen a lot of extensions this week. Garrett Crochet got an extension. Jackson Merrill got an extension. Ketel Marte got another extension. The Yankees don't typically do that. They extended Luis Severino for 4 years. That didn't work out. They extended Aaron Hicks for 7 years. That didn't work out. So it certainly didn't encourage them to do it more often. I asked the same question to Cameron Maben last night on the watch party for Foul Territory and Playback. And his answer was he would wait until George Lombard arrives. And if Lombard gets off to a good start, he would be the guy. And I tend to agree. I think if Jason Dominguez starts hitting, he's somebody you consider. Austin Wells, maybe, because we know how difficult it is to find a good defensive catcher who's also a good offensive player. And he's a guy who's kind of made for Yankee Stadium with his swing. I would have him up on my list if he starts to put it together, build towards an all-star type season. Austin Wells would be somebody that I would definitely consider for an extension. But right now, I think next in line for an extension, for one of those early on extensions, like the Red Sox just gave Christian Campbell, their new second baseman, George Lombard. He's somebody who would be a good option if the Yankees, call him up and he has some success.
Yeah, I got a couple things. The bats tonight, they were just not even competitive. And that was the problem I had with watching the game. I mean, we had guys swinging at balls in the dirt. We had guys swinging at balls in the bleachers. I mean, it was bad until Volpe hit a meaningless home run in the ninth. Another point is Oswald Peraza hit the home run, Saturday, the second game? And he's going to sit a week. So there's going to be no momentum carried over, which I just find stupid, to be honest. All right, have a good one, Derek.
I agree with you so much on Peraza. I can't even, I can't even explain it. Appreciate the call. I mean, guy hits a home run. I mean, I know he had a bad spring, but I mean, he was riding high after that home run on his first swing. You could see the confidence just injected into his body, and then they don't play him. I agree with a lot of the at-bats being uncompetitive last night, but I also maintain my stance that I made early on, which is that a lot of teams would not have been competitive against Zach Gallen last night. He was that good. That's the best I've seen him. I've seen him a few times. That's the best I've seen him. Gregory Wayne says he agrees on George Lombard. Hope he is our starter at third base in 2026.
I like him already.
Torpedo Bats.
Hey, Derek, it's Alex. Love the show. I
it.
love the Yankees start even more. I'm not going to lie. So just a couple things. First, a bit of a correction, only because I read a lot about this torpedo bat, and from a pure element of physics per se, right? The torpedo bats actually don't make you hit the ball harder, but rather make you hit the ball more often, right? Because it doesn't hit the edges of the bat. But essentially the wood is less dense there, so you're going to get less exit velocity, right? That's actually something that not a lot of people have, not many, YouTubers at least have actually pointed that out at all, but it's a fact. That's why Judge and a lot of these, stronger and better hitters stick to their normal bat, right? Because they want that exit velocity, right? That's one thing. The other thing is, do you think Ben Rice could be a trade chip? Because I know I love what I'm seeing. You predict that he's going to be, a bit of a stud coming out because he owned a little bit of the minor or most of the minor league. But we really don't have room for Ben Rice this year. And, I'm hoping that for first base next year, we go after somebody more high profile. Do you think we can use Rice and maybe even Cabrera for a third base before the trade deadline, or do you see this will play out the same way it's playing out now, which will keep him until the end of the season? Thank you.
I appreciate the call. I like what Ben Rice has shown us. He obviously had a tough night last night, but so far hitting .385 with a .429 on-base percentage and hitting the ball very, very hard. Right now, he's the type of guy that you want the Yankees to keep. I mean, for years, we talked about how they didn't have any young, homegrown left-handed hitters with pop. He's that guy. I think he could take over at first base next year. I think he's going to get a lot of reps at DH this year with Giancarlo Stanton out. And I'm not even sure that when Giancarlo Stanton comes back, if he's going to be with us that long, because, he typically gets re-injured and re-injured and re-injured, and it takes him a month to get going. If I was the Yankees, I would bring Giancarlo back and have him hit just against lefties until the playoffs, or at least until just before the playoffs. See how he handles righties, but let that body heal. I want to let Ben Rice get an extended chance and see what he can do with 300-400 at bats, and then you make a decision. You take a look coming down the stretch, who gives us the best chance in the playoffs? I suspect it will continue to be a platoon situation, which isn't exciting, but, maybe it works.
Hey, what's going on, Derek? Ryan calling from Long Island. Just wanted to chime in real quick. I saw something about ESPN, and it's a big load of bullshit, but saw something about ESPN put out their top 100 players. How in the world is Mookie Betts ahead of Aaron Judge at 3? That is absolutely, even Bobby Witt, number 2. What has he done?
I agree.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I was wondering if you could maybe shed some light on that. But anyway, yeah, big fan of the show. Listen to it every day. Take care.
I think it's an anti-Yankee bias. I mean, I really do. I mean, it's very clear to me that Judge is the best player in baseball the last several years. If he didn't get hurt 2 years ago from that play in Dodger Stadium, he'd be going on 3 straight MVP seasons and 3 straight seasons of 55-plus home runs. And he hit .320 last year with a .450 on-base percentage, and he played center field. And he's an elite right fielder. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me how anybody puts anyone ahead of him, with the exception of when Shohei Ohtani is pitching and hitting. Yeah, maybe he racks up more WAR because he can give you innings on the mound in a dominant way. But Judge is definitely top 2 right now, and I have him at number 1.
Yes, hi Derek, Steve calling from Farmington. Ben Rice reminds me of Ron Bloomberg. His swing, his build, and the way the ball jumps off his bat. See if you can find some films of Ronnie Bloomberg back in the late 60s, early 70s. Thanks.
I've actually never seen him play. I'm a bit too young for that, but I do know that Ron Bloomberg was the first ever designated hitter, and I hear Michael Kay talk about that all the time. He made his teacher wheel the TV into the class so he could watch it or something like that, which is, my teachers would never do that for me. We got to watch the OJ trial though. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, tough loss for the Yankees. I'll be back after the game tonight. I'm not feeling optimistic, so don't get your hopes up. But anyway, visit True Classic. Link is in the subscription. Call into the voicemails. We're here the morning after every game during the week. Not going to do them on the weekends most of the time, but if there's a big night on a Friday or Saturday, we'll make an exception. But call in 718-899-1068, and I'll catch you after the game. Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.